have been wearing for years that's never changed in how dynamic it is, never changed in its depth, but also never changed with what you've been capable to do after you put it on, which is really exciting. Tonight, we're gonna give you 3 ounces of the Eau de Parfum in one of the most visually stunning bottles of perfume you will ever come across. I mean, the phrase, they don't make them like they used to, is completely true, because when this is all said and done and gone, I sort of wanna keep it on a paperweight on my office so somebody can walk by and be like, that's a hashtag boss babe. We're also going to include for you a signature layering fragrance that's also in Shalimar, and it's going to be their Eau de Parfum bodied lotion, which is absolutely delicious. Great ingredients there to really help you get the full layering effect, of course, with your favorite scent and now your body lotion as well. Normally this set, when you would go into Prestige Beauty or one of Guerlain's stores all across the world, you'd be looking at $177.33. And given its history, given the depth and the layered fragrance that this really appeals to across the ages, worth every penny. Because much like you might dream of couture, this is the original couture fragrance and still very much is today. We're gonna give you, of course, because it's our steal, a steal of a value. You actually get to save $88 compared to what you'd spend anywhere else, and your grand total comes in at $89. But best of yet, we do offer great easy pay. When you order with a major credit card on beautyiq.com, you can actually budget this over 5 months, which is awesome in case you needed to buy the backup to the backup, which I highly suggest doing. Tonight, we're gonna kick off our full hour of Guerlain with an incredible theme, layer and luxury, and that's gonna be the case from your fragrance, but also your color cosmetics as well. Our steal tonight is a 271-685, but don't worry about item numbers, because you can just go to beautyiq.com and click on our steal panel, and it takes just about 4 steps for you to place an order and get it home in just a matter of days. But no, starting right now, you get the first look, and you only have 24 hours to take advantage of it. Joining us tonight, the gal that brings us Guerlain and Shalimar, Ginger Mazikian joins us.
Hey, girl.
Hey, girl, hey.
Mwah.
I am so happy to see you.
This is going to be so fun.
Everything that we saw in that brand video about Guerlain and even Shalimar, this idea of exciting French lights, lust, laughter, love,
takes you to
sexiness.
Paris.
Yes,
you know,
but that's what you guys have always done.
Always, always. It evokes a feeling. It makes you go on that journey.
Yes.
You know, even if you're just alone, even if you're just sipping your wine, you know,
Yes.
at night and you just want to go there. I
Yes.
mean, that's what it does. We evoke those feelings and that, you know, that confidence too, that like, even if you're not going anywhere, when you put that on, you're like, okay, where am I going?
Yeah,
right?
I will have a glass of Pinot Noir.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
will sit outside with my fabulous book, and I will people watch, living my best life. And I think that's really exciting, because especially if you've never discovered Shalimar, this is one that when you talk about the history of fragrance has never gone away. I mean, we live in a world right now where there's a new fragrance launched
every day,
60
something
seconds.
new. Yes.
And sometimes it doesn't even make it a day. It's completely irrelevant before it's ever started. But this is something
It's
that
iconic.
has withstood 93 years.
Yeah, isn't
of
that
the
amazing?
modern woman.
And I think it's because when this was launched, it made such a statement, and nothing out there smells like this.
Agreed.
The first Oriental. It really took the world by storm. It was during that time in the 1920s when women were not only discovering their femininity, but their independence.
Yes.
And wow, does this speak to that, right?
Oh, living
Sensual,
the best.
sexy, you know, just powerful,
Yes.
but subtle. Kind of almost sneaks up on you, and you're like, wow.
Who is she? Where is she going?
Yeah. What is she wearing?
Yeah.
Like from head to toe.
Is she dating
right?
anybody? You know, so be warned when you wear that, because you
People
could
will
be full
follow
on
you.
married for 30 years,
There you
and all of a
go.
sudden it's like, not my husband, it's actually my boyfriend.
There you go.
And I think the notes that you talk about this tonight that
Yeah.
kind of sneak up on you are ones that don't necessarily like still appear in modern day fragrances, because Guerlain has really kept a lot of things. I mean, you'll see it in our cosmetics, like ingredients secret, because they
Yeah.
want it to be special from the rest of the world
And
to keep from copying it.
It's so true. Raw materials, raw ingredients that
Yeah.
we search the world for. And because of our history in the industry, we have partnerships with growers and you know, manufacturers. Everything is made in Paris. Everything that we sell
Yes.
is like shopping in your boutique in Paris.
Yes.
So it's that history of not only raw and you know, unusual ingredients, but the finest.
Yes,
that
we
money
actually,
can buy.
I got stuck in Paris for a day for a flight to the
Oh,
worst
poor
places
you.
in life.
Oh,
I know.
boo-hoo.
But my husband and I went a little shopping, and it's funny, we went into this store that was like this big, beautiful beauty store, and in the fragrance section, in all the world's fragrance, especially European fashion houses and fragrance houses, who has the biggest display? Guerlain.
Yeah.
You know, and it's this multifaceted brand. The one that's always on the top shelf is always Shalimar.
Always.
And I have to
Always.
think it's top shelf because it is top
It
shelf
is.
for a reason. And with you guys creating this category of the first Oriental fragrance, think about this East meets West in a way where
Absolutely.
it's exotic, it's past 9 p.m. and the layered notes just draw you in.
Absolutely, absolutely. We're very vertical. I mean, when you smell this scent, you do smell a touch of that freshness, that bergamot from Calabria. Goes away, and then the iris and the rose start to build. There's also jasmine, which is my favorite.
Yes.
So you have what I call the queen flower, which is the rose, a little bit more sophisticated, and you have the jasmine, the tiny buds that are kind of a little more playful and sexy, a little bit rebellious maybe even, right? The princess running out of the garden, right? And she's gonna escape to adventures.
Yes.
And then you have that warm, sensual dry down, the tonka bean, the vanilla. Those combinations together just bring you this beautiful, you know, iconic, long-lasting and trail of romance, trail of who is that woman.
Absolutely.
A head-turning trail.
Well, and I will tell you, the women that wear Guerlain in Paris, because walking into this very fabulous store, first of all, there was one fragrance that I smelled and it was Guerlain, and I think about Parisian women having access to the best of the best.
Absolutely.
And that's the one fragrance that, like, when you're gonna have a store full of beauty, the one that gets sprayed and like in the air, and you're like, okay, yes, you can walk around in your leather pants and your tuxedo jacket. You can go outside and have that cigarette and be tall and skinny and fabulous.
With your loaf of French bread under your arm.
And carbs, you know? And I think, why not be that princess that's running away in the silkiest lingerie that finds the softest fields, decked out in the most amazing jewels.
We're there.
In the perfect scape
Yes,
of moonlight.
look at you.
That is Shalimar. And that is Shalimar.
It is.
In
If you
a
wear
field.
nothing else, you wear your Shalimar.
Yes, and you wear it in what looks to be Central Park of Paris, if there were 5 open acres that belong to you and only you. Because that's how you feel when you wear this fragrance.
It's your own. It's your own little fantasy.
Yes, and I think, who will you become when you wear Shalimar? And I think that's something that's great to discover, because any other day of the week, I mean, here's the thing, like being in Paris, and this being a French, dare I say, couture house of fragrance, we're also gonna see some great cosmetics coming up later on in the hour, it's still expensive when you go to Paris. Like it's still those fine ingredients that demand a price tag that women day in and day out pay. And so if you were to buy Guerlain at any prestige beauty retailer, especially for the setup that you're getting here, 3 ounces of the perfume, and then of course 6.7 ounces of the lotion, you'd be spending $177 for one night and one night only. I'm telling you, get the backup to the backup for the full layered experience, because it comes home for $89. And of course, we've got great easy pay and free shipping and handling.
You can't beat that.
No.
This is the perfect time. This is going to go.
And
this is gonna fly.
yeah, by the way, like, steals are only for one day. Sometimes they leave us early, and even I can't phone a lifeline for a friend. I've like been here 8.5 years. They can be like, you're kidding me.
Can I get
not
one?
in the warehouse that I could walk over to Lancaster and get. And they're like,
Someone's hiding it.
Not. This idea that we paired 2 of these together goes hand in hand with our theme tonight, because we wanted you to layer in luxury. And a lot of people don't realize that when it comes to fragrance, if you're not layering, I feel like that's a missed opportunity. You're missing out.
And you know, I've been in the industry 30 years, and from the beginning, we always layered the fragrance. It gives it richness.
Yeah.
The lotion here has orchid butter in it. It has vitamin E, so it's
butter?
Yes. It's really nourishing for the skin. Yeah. Well, we make an orchid cream for the face too. Maybe we'll see that one one of these days.
Love that.
But you know, sometimes a fragrance lotion can leave you feeling dry. This not only leaves you moisturized, but with a little bit of a glisten.
It almost
looks
like skincare.
Yes.
I feel like we're looking at a serum. I mean, my skin just drank that in.
You see how light? It's not heavy or thick. This looks great on the shoulders. Not only, you know, I've had people come close to me and kind of like almost nibble me when I'm wearing it.
Yes.
It's like, okay, you're getting a little too close.
Ginger is spoken for.
Yes.
But this is something that I will tell you, like, you know, here's the thing. You may have a husband or wife at home. You might be getting this for them. And I feel like this is how you discover that, like, walk by and then, something about you is different. You look amazing. Did you want to go out to dinner instead of staying and cook tonight? And it's Shalimar, because this is one of like the greatest love stories of all time. Like, the man who could not be tamed was finally heartbroken.
Yes, absolutely. So the name Shalimar, so at the House of Guerlain, we're very inspired by women, love stories, faraway mythical places. And Jacques Guerlain, the creator of this fragrance, was considered to be the greatest nose of the 20th century. He was creating this in his lab, and it had yet to be named. And he heard a story that happened 400 years before. The Shah Jahan of India brought his 13th wife, Mumtaz Mahal, to the palace, married her, and he built these gardens around the palace, kind of like a fortress.
Yes.
So she wouldn't, want to leave the palace and go out with the,
But no one else would discover her beauty either.
There you go. Yes, kept her to himself. So he filled it with beautiful plants and flowers and fountains and statues, and he named it Shalimar. Shalimar means, in ancient language, eternal love. So the sad story is that she died giving birth to his only son, and he ended up building the Taj Mahal, which I know everybody knows about the Taj Mahal, one of the 7 wonders of the world, and had her entombed there. And when Jacques Guerlain heard this story, he said, this fragrance must be named Shalimar. So people will fall in love with you eternally, whether they're your husband or, your best friend, because it becomes you. The scent becomes you and part of your story, your personal story.
I will say this, there are certain life events that all of us go through where we're like, that happens, and you know what, I don't need to think about that, whether it's positive or, maybe you're applying
emotional,
for something.
Those moments.
Emotional, you're like, I need to put that on a shelf somewhere because I'm not prepared to deal with that yet. Imagine having that life event, like the love of your life, being lost in childbirth to your only son, and you starting a project to take your mind off of it that is one of the 7 wonders of the world, and the Taj Mahal. Imagine how much she'd have to mean to you for you to dive into such an exquisite force of architecture, but also love stories that in Shalimar are now recreated with the most wondrous notes that in fragrances today are layered in such a way that this has never been copied, this has never been imitated because it can't quite ever be done.
It can't be. It can't be. And that's so true when you wear this fragrance, if you know the story.
Yeah.
The story, make your own story. You get wrapped up. It's an enveloping scent, and it makes you go there. It makes you go to those good places.
Yes.
Because it's that kind of scent where you just feel so womanly in so many ways.
And let's start with bergamot, because if you've never gone to a perfumery, if you've never had the essential oils and the extracts of beautiful perfumes, like what is a bergamot? Is it citrus?
So it's a citrus fruit, and you're right. You hear all these exotic ingredients, and you're like, oh, okay, what is that?
Yeah,
what does that mean?
I love a splash of citrus in my water.
Yeah. I drink it every day. Bergamot is a large kind of a cross between a lemon and a lime.
Okay.
It's grown mostly in Calabria, Italy, and it has a very thick skin. The fruit is almost inedible because it's so tart.
Yeah.
So what we do is use the zest
Yes.
and just enough of it to give a touch of that freshness. So
It's like a
it's probably
tingle.
like the size of a small grapefruit or a large lemon.
Okay. And then from there, that's the first note that kind of like puts this, I feel like we almost go from like 0 to 45 because it's like, get ready.
Yep.
The intoxication is about to begin.
The experience is going to hit you gradually, but
Yes.
then boom. So then we have iris, and iris, it's that purple flower. Iris, the flower has no scent. So we don't get the scent of iris from the flower. We get it from the roots, which are called rhizomes. So it's a long process. It's one of the most expensive ingredients in a fragrance. So we have to dry the roots for several years, just separate it and ground it into a powder, and it gives iris is really the powdery notes. So it can also be found kind of in the more dry down.
Yes.
Even though it's in the center, it has this characteristic where the powderiness will start to evolve and then kind of stay there and mix with the tonka bean.
Yes.
Which tonka bean is a seed to the orchid. So it's nutty, almost almondy. And then we know what vanilla is. Vanilla is that sweetness, that kind of rum almost.
It's that warmth that I feel like in that final note from first spritz of the most visually stunning perfume.
Oh, of
I
course,
think that we
the
have
bottle.
that completely envelops you, and you're like, I feel like I just got a hug from People Magazine's Sexiest Man of the Year.
Or
you know?
or a passionate kiss.
Yeah, even better, even better. But how great this is to now be able to have this in such a substantial size.
This is-
3 ounces. It's an Eau de Parfum.
This is the largest one we make.
Which
so it
I
doesn't,
think is amazing because we've now given you the largest size perfume that they make, paired with 6.7 ounces of their incredible body lotion that goes and drinks into your body like a glistening serum that any other day of the week both would have been $177. And